You're never too busy, too tired, too old, or too anything to pursue your dreams. Welcome to the Distracted Dreamer podcast, where you'll learn how to move all those never-ending distractions aside and chase your dreams with confidence. Well, hello, my friend. Welcome to the Distracted Dreamer podcast. I'm your host, Carlene. And I am ready to dive into a conversation that's more like a loving kick in the pants for you. And I have to tell you, there are times that I really struggle with what to talk about here on the podcast, figuring out what you might need, what your challenges are, and keeping it interesting all at the same time. Some weeks I come up with, nothing. And this was one of those weeks. And when I stopped trying so hard to find the thing to talk about this week, I noticed things and the people that are smack dab in front of me. People that are struggling and overthinking, and others who are in it. They're doing the thing, one tiny thing to move forward on their dreams. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to put those two camps of people together in this episode? So that's what I did. And here we are. And there aren't 3 steps to anything right now. It's just some truth and some inspiration and permission. So if you've been stuck in the overthinking spiral, you're going to want to hear this. Because while you are very busy overthinking your dreams, other dreamers are stacking up wins like Lego blocks. And here's the truth. Most of us do get stuck in our heads. And we are waiting for the perfect time to start. And we do make excuses and say, someday. And we're waiting for permission to chip away at our dreams. And we all know overthinking is the least productive thing that we can do. But these other dreamers, they decided to get out of their head and do something instead. And when they did that, here's what happened next. My good friend Alicia, who you met in episode 35, she talked about her love of flowers. She planted a beautiful flower garden. That's her dream. Nisi, a recent client, she actually pitched her coaching to 3 small businesses. That was huge. And Chris, who has been a longtime client of mine, she started writing 4 days a week in the 750 word app to build up her writing muscle. And then one of my college friends actually published his website. It was so exciting to see him do this. And then Lisa, who is another longtime client of mine, she finally stopped undercharging for her landscaping services, and she is finally charging what she is worth. And then there's my good friend Becky, who you also met back in episode 33. And she was talking about her counseling practice. Yeah, she started advertising for that now. And then there's my daughter, Emily, who she is such a talented artist. Although if she heard me talking about this, she would be rolling her eyes right now. But she started painting again. And when her sister, who recently had a baby, asked her to paint something for the nursery, that's when it began. And what I want to tell you is, it doesn't matter how you start or how you start again. Because sometimes that is what our dreams demand of us, to pause and start again. And if it's the birth of your niece that gets you to start again, how beautiful is that? And then there's my friend Christina, who's always cared for everyone else first. And she finally started putting money away from every paycheck into a savings account for traveling. She's always wanted to travel, but she always told herself, I can't get away because people need me. And then this is my most favorite of all, is my niece Annie. She published her first book at the age of 16. It's called Annie the Brave, a food allergy adventure coloring and activity book. And let me tell you, this girl has been through it all. But she has come out the other side because she has suffered through all the intense food allergy testing, the micro testing, everything that she put in her mouth. It's a long road to discovering what you can and cannot eat. You know, finding out what your body will tolerate. If you've ever experienced anything, even on a small scale, you know what that's like. And at the age of 16, she decided to help other kids like her who are going through the long process. And next, she's hoping to connect with the University of Iowa Hospital and sew some bags and make activity kits for kids undergoing food challenge tests, because those appointments, they can take up to like 5 hours or so. And of course, I'm going to tell you to go grab her book on Amazon for yourself, or for someone you know who's suffering with food allergies, or simply to support Annie in her mission to help other kids. So I've put a link to her book in the show notes. And okay, I have to tell you what my husband said to me when he heard about Annie's book. He said, "Did you see Annie published a book? When are you going to publish a book?" Oh my gosh. Talk about being called out. I mean, he didn't do it in a mean way, but it was just like, oof, that was hard. My point is that sometimes we need to be called out. And I just see Annie as such a sweet inspiration for me. And she really is for all of us. And so I give you all of these examples of people who are they're doing something. Maybe it's just one pre-step. It's the precursor to their dreams, like writing in the 750 word app. That is still working towards your dreams. So my point is just do the thing. Because I'm telling you, lots of someone's actually, they're chipping away at your dream or a version of it. Use that as motivation to start. I remember back when I started my coaching business, something wildly outside of my comfort zone. I wasn't fearless. I was totally freaked out. I had no roadmap. I had no entrepreneurs in my family. I had no plan B. And truth be told, an ADHD life coach wasn't a popular career, especially for a girl who never even heard of coaching until, well, I did. But I knew it was supposed to be my next move. I had a feeling. Just a quiet gut feeling and a whispered, what if, that wouldn't stop tugging at me. So I waited and waited and waited some more to feel ready. And waiting to feel ready is what keeps you stuck. And I thought I'd be ready if I took one more coaching class, got just one more certification. And my love of learning and consuming information and working on my coaching skills, it became my greatest adversary. It kept me in a never-ending learning loop. I was building competence, but not confidence. I wanted to minimize the risk of failure, of disappointing my clients, my family, and myself. But here's the thing that I didn't know yet. I was not the risk. The real risk is not trying, not growing, not seeing what's possible on the other side of that discomfort. So somewhere along the line, maybe you were told, maybe not with words, but with the looks, the doubts, the rejections, or even silence, that your big dream was too much, that playing it safe was the smart thing to do, that you had to prove yourself before you were allowed to go all in. But I need you to hear me. You don't have to prove your worth before you start. The act of starting is the proof. The act of starting is the proof. Every successful person that you admire has messed up. I promise you, they have messed up. They have stumbled. They've doubted themselves, but they made a decision anyway to start. And what sets them apart isn't their perfection that you think that you're seeing. It's their willingness to move forward imperfectly. And yeah, I know that's a mindset thing. Ugh, I used to hate hearing that too. Like, thanks for the vibes, but what about my bank account? What about paying my mortgage? What about my friend from college and her judgments? But now I get it. Because when I finally stopped seeing failure as punishment and started seeing it as proof that I was showing up, things really changed. And I stopped calling it a risk and started calling it what it really was. It's a commitment to my growth. It's a commitment to my dreams. It's a commitment to the kind of life I want to live. And I want that for you too. So here's your action step today. Just write down one move you've been too scared to make. Just one. That's it. Doesn't have to be big. Just one. And then I want you to ask yourself, what's one tiny doable step that I can take toward it today? What's one tiny doable step I can take toward it today? Not next week, not when you're ready, today. Maybe it's emailing that client or finally hitting publish or signing up for the thing that you know could help give you what you need to move forward. I mean, heck, maybe it's just talking with your girlfriend over coffee just to help you verbally process that next move. So just make the move. And I want you to know Be messy. Messy is okay. Messy is so much better than going in perfect. Expect it to be messy. And I know how scary it can be. I've lived the fear. I've cried into my pillow about it. But I've also lived the joy on the other side of it. So you are not a risk. You are a sure thing if you're willing to bet on yourself long enough to see it through. So here's what I want you to know as we wrap up. I don't record these episodes from a place of having it all figured out. I record them from right in the middle where the doubt and the bravery live side by side. And you don't need another podcast episode. You don't need another list of tips or tools or books to read. You just need one moment of courage, the kind that whispers, let's go. And if you're looking around and seeing others move while you feel stuck, let that be the nudge, the reminder that it's possible, that it's not too late, because your dream is still waiting for you. And if you do the thing, would you please text me at the link in the show notes, because I want to celebrate all your wins, big or small, with you. You know that list I gave you at the beginning of the episode where I told you who was doing the thing? Yeah, I want to mention you in one of my upcoming episodes. So please, first name only, but I want to be able to share your wins. And I want you to know that I'm right here rooting for you always. All right, my sweet friend. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And remember, your dreams, they are waiting for you. And your time, it's now. And I'll be back next week, ready to welcome you to our next conversation. Oh, and one more thing. This is the legal language. You know, the stuff that the lawyers put together, and they say that I need to read this to you. So here we go. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. I'm just your friend. I'm not a licensed therapist. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals. Got it? Good. I will see you in the next episode.